How's it going, mate? Very well.
Thank you so much for coming out, man. Usually I have a script, but I think just a conversation. It's not an interview. It's not an interrogation. It's just
All right.
you're inspiring to so many people, and you've done so much, and you've probably seen more of the world than most fighter pilots. You know.
I don't know. It's certainly been a lot of places so far.
Insane. But yeah, we're just gonna talk stuff, and
sure.
I've heard bits and pieces about what you've done, and you've spoken at different forums, and I'm like, man, you've just done so much. And so many people are missing out on knowing that information. So that's why I like to put this video together and add it to my interview reel. And so
definitely
really appreciate you coming out and spending some time.
No problem. Thank you for asking me.
My pleasure. And you're off to a sound check a little later.
A gig actually, I have a gig tonight with guitarist James Muller. It's a new residency that's just started up a couple of weeks ago. So he's obviously one of the best jazz guitarists on the planet. So I feel very, very fortunate to be able to play with him on a weekly basis now. So yes, I've been definitely shedding my jazz chops because I haven't been doing a lot of that recently. But
so when you, obviously we'll go back in a second, but Cirque du Soleil, what genre do you call that?
Oh wow,
Afro Circus.
Afro Circus. I like it. World music. I don't know, one of those vague genres. I'm not sure you can really define Cirque du Soleil, and I think that's the great thing about it, or one of the great things about it, is it kind of transcends a lot of that kind of that pigeonholing of things. So I mean, musically there's influences from all over the world, and the shows that I was doing in particular, the second show, Kuza, had a lot of influence from like Indian music, as well as like 70s funk music and some heavy rock stuff. So it really it depends on the act, that kind of dictates what style the piece might be in.
And did you find that, because obviously your jazz thing is more prominent, the gigs you're doing these days, did you find that, okay, I just want to change it up a bit? You can't just start, do you have that kind of ability to change what you've been doing from the gig before to the gig you're on?
You mean in the show?
Like, so the night before you've done something, and then the next night you've gone, I watched a bit of Whiplash.
Well, that is one of the cool things about Cirque as well, is that you do have some freedom to kind of change things up a little bit. Of course, it depends on the show. The first show I was doing didn't really allow for so much musical freedom, but the second one I was on, you could mix it up a little bit. I mean, there are certain limitations within that, but if you're smart about it and mature and kind of have a clear direction of what you want to do, you can mix it up. And it's kind of a bit of a misconception with playing in Cirque du Soleil. People kind of say, oh, you must get so bored playing the same music every night. And although it is the same music, there's so many things that can change on a nightly basis.
You've got to be on your toes.
The arrangements and the order of the acts, and the versions of the acts and things like that.
Cool. Let's go back a step. Let's go back to Ben Todd at the Drum Tech competition. How old were you then?
I believe I was 15 at that time.
So walk us through that, right? You've the outline of Drum Tech is something amazing thanks to Frank, and it happens every year. It's just phenomenal. And he really gives opportunities to drummers. And to get to play at that. What was, so let's go if you can remember, let's go 6 months prior to that.
Wow. Well, I think I had heard about the Ultimate Drummers Weekend, from when I was really young, but never got a chance to go. And that particular year, I was also very fortunate to be performing there with the drum corps that I was a member of at the time. So I was already going over there anyway, but then when I kind of started researching the whole weekend and found that there was a competition, I became interested in that. And
interested, why? Because you're very competitive, and if
No,
someone
not-
plays faster than you want to stab them.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think just because I was, I was quite young at that time, I guess, and I guess I just wanted to see, you know, how I compared to other drummers outside of Adelaide, because of course that was all I was really exposed to, you know, and so it kind of just became a goal, I guess, a bit of a something to work towards, and I'd never really done like a drum set competition like that before. I'd done like a lot of talent shows in primary school, so I kind of had that. I had a bit of a mental picture that it would be something like that. Okay. But yeah, it was
Johnny Young Talent Time.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, but it was it was an incredible experience, and I was fortunate enough to win it, which, you know, of course I was really surprised, because like I said, I didn't know, you know, what the standard of the guys.
Who were the judges?
Oh, it was Dom Famularo, Graham Morgan.
Nice.
Oh man, that's I'm blanking now. Who else was there that year?
Shulman? No, it wasn't that year.
No, it was 04, I think.
Okay.
Was when we went across.
Right.
I really don't remember,
okay.
But yeah, just like it was the whole weekend, as you know, is like it's insane. Bit of a heaven for drummers.
So you're playing on the main stage in front of a spectating audience. How many's in that crowd?
Oh, I would say, because that's the competition's in a separate area to like the theatre. Okay. So, but still, there would have been a couple hundred people in there, I guess, and then there's 6 or 7 judges or whatever it was. But I was probably the most nervous I'd ever been.
Is it the kind of judging that happens that we see on these reality TV shows where they give you some critiquing at the end of your performance, or it's just a quiet notes and deliberation at the end?
Yeah, it was. To be honest, I didn't even get to meet the judges. Like, it kind of just, I got up there and played, and then they announced the results, and that was kind of it, you know? So, in that sense, it was, I mean, maybe some feedback would have been nice, but at the same point, it was like, I won it, so...
Yeah, here's your award, and here's your ticket to America.
That's it.
So after winning that, what was the process? What was the next thing that you did?
I guess the next main thing I did, that comp, in a way, gave me a lot of confidence, I guess, in my own playing, and you know, I'd been working towards like the whole Cirque du Soleil thing prior to that.
Okay, but so that's always been a thing.
Oh yeah,
traveling circus.
Yeah, for sure.
Wicked.
Nice. Since I was probably about 10 or 11, I think that's when I saw my first Cirque show.
Wow.
But yeah, winning the comp, it was maybe the boost I needed to really like start pushing for it, and so I started sending them, you know, tapes and videos of me playing every 6 months or something like that, just to keep, you know, hassling them.
Wow. Yeah, and a lot of people apply.
Oh yeah, heaps of people apply, and even more so now because their whole audition database is online. So even when I auditioned, that wasn't that long ago, maybe 9 years ago, I guess I started auditioning. It was all video based, like physical. Send a tape. Make a DVD and post it to them. Now, like, you can just send them a YouTube link,
and they get more of that because it's easier to do.
Exactly. Yeah, right. So by now, their database of people trying to get in is massive. So I was you know, very fortunate, and still am very fortunate to be associated with the company.
You're representing, you know, Australia and Adelaide more in particular, the drummers of Adelaide. And, you know, there are a few drummers from Adelaide that have actually got that gig.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guy that I recommended to take my place in the first show is a guy from Adelaide, Paul Butler, and he's still doing that show. He's been doing it for 4 years, I guess.
Right. How long were you?
Well, I was with the company for about 5.5 years.
The first part, though, isn't drumming on stage, right? It's learning and dancing and makeup.
The very first thing, my very first day in Montreal when I started with the company was that. Yeah, it was learning makeup, and because the first show I did, I had to go on stage for a little bit and kind of interact with the acrobats and the audience, and had like a snare drum, you know, on a sling around the neck, and it was all character based, you know, all movement and kind of quasi dancing, and I'd done like none of that before. No. So that was like
I just want to play drums.
I know,
I just want to play drums. Now you got
to be
wearing his makeup.
I know, but that was day one of my whole experience with Cirque, and it was a bit it was a shock for sure.
You know, that photo I commented on Facebook where I think it was your 5th birthday or something.
Yeah.
You had makeup. And
yes.
Like, you were destined for that
I know,
stage, man.
I know. It's
craved
so
makeup. I love it. It's awesome. And so once you've got past the training stage for Cirque, you're obviously shortlisted enough to get over to Montreal.
Yeah. Well, by that point, I'd been signed to start with the show, so they won't fly you there, you know, to Montreal unless, you know, you're committed. So I signed my contract to start with the show, and then I went to Montreal and we started doing all the training there. So there was, you know, a little bit of like hesitation, you know, on my part when I first got there, because I said it was such a shock that it was like all this dancing and makeup and costume. I mean, I knew some of that was going to be a part of it, but it was like, do I really want to do this, you know? Because I just wanted to play drums, and that was my whole reason for wanting to join Cirque, was to be part of that band. Right. And it was a bit of a reality
the world's
check.
best. Like, the people in that band are all from all over the world as well, and it is kind of a really good ensemble of the best of the best.
Yeah,
you get in with, you know, a half knowledge, half
chops. They really, I think they really try and target musicians who are, you know, have a lot of experience in different styles and are willing, are open-minded as well. If you just come in and say, I'm just a rock guy, this is what I do, they're probably not going to be too interested. But if you come in with like open mind and willing to try anything, and, you know, mixed genres and did they have a plan for you to go in a particular show, or they just wanted to see how you developed? No, that particular show that I auditioned for was there was a long process for that specific show, because all the shows are so different, and you know, I might not be as suited to one show as somebody else. So for the first show that I was on, it was kind of half drum kit and half hand percussion and world percussion, which not everyone can do. Yeah, right. So you know, in my videos, I started putting some of that stuff in, because I knew that, you know, it might have potentially given me an edge over just a drum set player. And in the end it did, so I was kind of chosen for that specific show, and then my experience with the drum corps, I think, helped me with the on-stage element of the show that was required. Okay. So,
very cool. So being on the show for in total, how many years from the first set to the last show you just did?
5.5 years.
5.5 years.
So I was with the first
over two shows.
Yep. With the first one for about 18 months, and the second one for the rest of the time.
Just quickly run through a few of your travel itineraries.
Where we've been to?
Well, how many people in the crew, for a start?
There's probably about 150 people on tour. There's about 60 artists, and the rest are technicians, office staff, travel, immigration.
So 150.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the folks at home, when you were about to explain that you going from one city to another city and all the things that happen in between, buses, accommodation, that's for 150 people.
Yeah, it is huge, and it's, you know, the thing about it that's so amazing when you stand back. Have you seen a Cirque show?
Yes,
like in
absolutely.
the tent, like you look at that thing and you just imagine, like, it's hard to imagine that it all packs up into, you know, I think it's about 60 trucks and people's luggage, that's it. And, you know, then it drives to the next city or flies to the next country, and it's amazing that, but yeah, it's a huge operation, and the fact that there's so many shows. I mean, the amount of employees that company has now is incredible. Just from where it started, like a couple of guys on the street busking in Montreal like 30 years ago to the huge...
And how many shows are there currently?
I think there's about 6 or 7 touring shows. So they'll go in the big top.
What's the one coming out?
The one that's coming to Adelaide is called Totem.
Yeah.
And that's in a big top. But now they have shows that just do arenas. So they'll go into an entertainment center, and it's basically the same show, just inside, you know, an arena. So that's a great business model for them, because it's a lot cheaper for them, and they can move really fast. They can do they can afford to do 4 nights in a city.
With the extra nights,
or just do a week in a city and move on, rather than the 6 or 7 weeks that the Big Top show was.
OVO was in Big Top.
OVO was in a Big Top.
That was about a month, I think.
Yeah, that was a pretty short run. Yeah, probably about 5 or 6 weeks.
So when you're in, okay, so where have you been? What places have you stayed in?
I started in Japan. Okay. I was in Japan for about, in total, like over 2 years.
And is it true you got out just after the earthquakes?
We were there during the earthquake, actually.
Yeah, right.
So that was really, horrible experience. Wow. Yeah, we were actually in the middle of a 6-month run in Tokyo when that earthquake hit, and we obviously, we cancelled our shows and we were evacuated. The whole company was evacuated to Macau because there were just so many aftershocks, and we weren't sure what was going on with the radiation and all that stuff. So we left the country for a couple of weeks, and then came back to Japan, and there was still a lot of aftershocks, but people still came to the show and they loved it. So that was good. But that was
Japan,
not Japan, Russia,
out and then back again.
Yeah. We did Russia for about 6 months, and we went to the States, the US, for about 6 months, and then
whereabouts in the States?
We were in Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, and
so when you
Orlando.
say the States, it's like 6 other major cities.
Yeah, exactly. No, the show had actually already been in the States for about 3 years.
Okay.
So when we went back, it was only to kind of just to fill some time in our tour plan until we started our European run.
Right. Okay.
And then when we got to Europe, it was everywhere. Germany, France, Spain, all over the place. So.
Okay. So was there a time where you went, hang on, this is just amazing, this is good, but I need to go and settle down and record an album or something?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. For sure. I mean, that's kind of ultimately why I took a break from it. Like, at the moment, I'm on a 12-month sabbatical. Right. So I've
leap year?
A gap year, I guess, yeah. So I finished in August last year, and I have the potential to go back in August of this year. But yeah, it's, of course, the gig is incredible and the travel is great and all that. But, if you do anything for 5 years, you kind of start to get a bit like
a marriage.
Itchy feet. Well,
your wife's on tour with you.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah. No, my wife, I was lucky that she was there as well. But yeah, no, we just we bought a house 3 years ago, and I think the longest that we lived in it at any one time was 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it was just kind of, sitting there, and that was definitely a big draw card to come home, was just to enjoy that and enjoy, of course, being with our family and friends again. And
as soon as you landed, though, you had gigs. You had stuff. Because I know that there was Greece had their show here, and you got that gig pretty much.
Yeah. That was a pure fluke, to be honest, because I'd actually, when I decided I was going to come home, I started lining up, gigs and contacting people and saying, is there any work, pretty much, and also I just wanted to meet people. So I knew Greece was going to be in town, so I did what I used to do before I went on tour and sent an email to the MD of the show and said, I just want to have a coffee and have a chat and ask about the musical theatre scene in Australia and potential of being involved in that.
Yeah.
So
that's insane. That's a whole, mate, Darren Fruger's been doing it for you, and Mark Charles is an inspiration as well, and I've got to get him in the hot seat. He's been doing this stuff for years. That's
definitely, that's a whole other scene.
It's insane.
For
and
sure,
just amazing, and just to have a conversation with him about that.
Yeah.
It's a whole different level. You've got, you guys are in one completely different stratosphere.
Yeah.
Then you've got the touring shows that he's played with Wicked, and I think then doing the Grease thing for you, and that would be something different, challenging, but nothing that would probably did it scare you, or?
It didn't scare me. The thing that was bizarre about it was I had coffee with this guy, and just to have a chat, and we were talking away, and he said, so. Our drummer has to go back to Sydney tomorrow. He's had a family emergency. How would you feel about playing the show tomorrow night? It was literally that. So I met him on a Tuesday morning, and because I'd just come home, I didn't really have any gigs, so
but you've been jamming Summer Lovin' on the airplane on the way over,
of course,
for years.
Of course, that's my workout playlist.
That's my jam.
That's it. But yeah, no, I met him on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, I went into the theatre at 9 o'clock in the morning and rehearsed all day just with him, with the keyboard. Mm-hmm. And then I played the show that night. So I was only kind of nervous because it was so fast, and I had no real chance to really study the material as much as I would have liked. But it was great fun.
So I've been in that pit. I've been in the pit for I think it was West Side Story with Darren was playing it. And it was so funny. It was just amazing. And for anyone who's seen a theatre show, there's not music the whole way through. And I was just sitting there next to Darren on a chair. He's on his kit behind his windows of silence.
That's it.
And they'd be playing, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Let's start reading a book."
That's it.
Then they go, the book down. They get ready and they play 5-6 bars on whatever.
Yeah.
And then read a book.
That's it. Yeah, it is an incredibly strange performance environment.
Were you in the pit with the rest of the band?
No, actually, we were on stage for that show.
Okay, cool.
So we were not visible all the time. There was a big screen that came in sometimes. But one of the strangest kind of performance experiences, I guess, that I had was playing Miss Saigon,
right,
which is another theatre show. But myself and the percussionist, we had huge setups, and it was too big to have in the pit. So we were actually in a separate room out the back, and the rest of the orchestra was in the actual pit, and we were all hooked up with in-ears and videos and stuff. But that was really strange because we'd finish a piece, and it would be silent. We couldn't hear any applause. There was no one else. Couldn't see anyone else in the orchestra. It was just us in some back room. And,
right. But playing table tennis.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone else was coming in their nice blacks, and we were just rocking up in jeans and a shirt and doing it. And
wow,
very strange. But yeah, another cool experience.
So moving back to Adelaide, doing the Grease show, you're doing a heap of stuff with some other amazing Adelaide talent. You've rattled off a few. But you've recorded a CD. You did that while you were away?
Yeah, I did it in one of the first breaks that I had since once I started the show. So we were in Japan for about 7 or 8 months, and one of the first times I actually came back to Australia on a 2-week break. I recorded the album. That was back in 2010.
Recorded that at Chapel?
At Chapel Lane, yeah. With a bunch of extremely talented Adelaide musicians.
Yeah. Who did you have?
I had Damien Steele-Scott on bass,
right.
Adam Page on sax, Shane Ellery and Paul White on keyboards, Dave Innocenzi on guitar, and my dad on percussion.
Your dad's a big player here.
He's
rocking it.
Absolutely,
cool.
yeah. So that was it was great to do. That was my first solo album and the first thing that I'd actually written music for specifically, for release. And as it's turned out, that's been one of the things that I started doing on tour a lot, was writing music. Because during the day, you kind of have all day to do whatever you want.
So your day job starts at 7?
Yeah, whenever you want.
At 11?
That's it.
When the show starts, you need to be there and do your thing. And
oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, when we usually get to the show. If we have an 8 o'clock show, you get there at 6. We do a sound check, do the makeup, have something to eat, and do the show and head home. So the rest of the time is really your own.
Vineyards.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but I travel with a little portable studio setup that I'd set up in the hotel, and just would write music there. And
so you don't just play drums; you wrote everything. Took care of the whole.
I play a little bit of keyboard, just enough to
compose.
Write. Yeah, pretty much.
And you brought the sheets back and you said, "Here's your bits."
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
I emailed the guys the charts and the demos, the MIDI demos, a few weeks before, and then we went in on a Monday, rehearsed all day, and then tracked on Tuesday and Wednesday. And
awesome.
Then I flew out, I think, the Friday.
Very good.
So
and that's the
CD.
Yeah,
right there.
There's one we prepared earlier.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
2010 Ben.
That's it. So
that's the disc, and you've got 9 tracks on here.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I wrote all of them and collaborated on 2 of them with the keyboard player Paul White. So
okay.
So yeah, but
Nice. Yeah.
From there, another thing that I started working on tour was actually doing a play along book of that material.
I've got that.
Oh, you have this one?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I love it. So good.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm going to do one day though?
What's that?
You know, you see everyone they get their play alongs and they look at the music. You know, and the whole idea of it is, is this to play along to that?
Yes.
I've got to play along to the other one.
Ah, okay, cool.
What's
cool.
that one called?
That's called Playtime Series.
Yes. Yeah. So I've got that one.
Okay, cool.
What I want to do one day is go into a studio, have it all set up really pretty, but just play that the whole way through.
You can do that.
There's no way I can keep up with this stuff.
Oh man,
it's insane.
The thing about it is I didn't really. It's not like necessarily like a.
This is an add-on to this, right?
Yeah.
So this is just something nice. You know, what's he doing there? Check it out.
Exactly.
But with your play along, with your playtime, that's designed to. It's for drummers to learn and hone their craft.
That's it. Yeah.
As well as being some great music as well.
Yeah. Well, they're both. I tried to start this little series of play-along things, and not necessarily like a progressive, like beginner, intermediate, advanced. This is just the stuff I write, you know, I don't think there's a lot of play-along material out there for drummers that is just fun music, you know. And if you want to, you play however you want, but you know, that's kind of just what if you want to do that, that's cool, man. No worries. But it's more of just like, you know, some good music to have fun with.
So that's what I'll do, right? We'll have the track playing. We'll have a split screen. We'll have Ben on one screen and me on the other screen. And Ben's just going to town, making everything sound amazing, and I'm just like,
you can do that.
Sweating at the same time.
Make sure you get your foot cam though.
Yes,
that's
you need
the
the foot cam. It'll be on my left foot.
The left foot, yeah.
Because my right foot's okay. Very good, man. Yeah. Well, you got to get out of here.
Cool.
The half hour or whatever we've done is definitely not enough. There's so much. So at some point we'll do a part 2.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe add a kit.
Yeah.
You know, talk about some stuff and
no problem.
You know, are you putting out a? So what's next?
Well, at the moment I'm still trying to decide if we'll go back on tour or not.
Yeah.
But between now and then, I'm going to record another album.
Okay.
Potentially another 2 albums because I have a quintet now, as well as a second album of this bigger band. So I have a home studio that I'm planning to record those in.
Yeah, talk about your drum tracks online.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, I just started that a few months ago.
Yeah.
Because, you know, over the years, I guess, of you know, collecting studio gear, I now have a pretty nice setup at home, and I can record drums for people at, you know, really cheap because it's all there, you know, all my gear's there, it's all set up all the time. So yeah, you send me a track, I put drums on it and send it back. So
that's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
I saw it the other day and I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah, man.
I love it. It's the way it is. Mark Shulman's been doing that stuff for years.
That's it.
You know, and there's all the Skype lessons, but this is, you know, it's good, and your diversity will come in as well, because you might get a rock gig and flame out a rock thing. You might get a jazz thing.
Yeah.
You know, do you get some guidance onto what they want?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion before I actually start recording, but yeah, I mean, it's a great formula that's just become so easy now to do. Because, you know, gear is certainly not as expensive as it used to be, and the fact that like studio hire is constantly like going up. So yeah, I love doing it. I really love doing it. So yeah, onlinesessiondrumtracks.com.
There it is.
That's it.
All right, then. Dude.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, man.
No problem. Good.
So your gig tonight?
Yes.
What type of venue? Whereabouts?
It's a jazz quartet.
Yep.
So yeah, it's with James Muller and Chris Sewell and Tim Bowen, and it's at a place called Vinyl.
Right.
And it's every Thursday, 8 o'clock. And we play kind of contemporary jazz and some original stuff, some cover things. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right, man.
Cool.
Good. Thanks everybody for sticking around. This is part 1 of maybe there'll be a part 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 because this guy's got so much information. I'm Pete from ETI. This is Ben. Thanks for watching. Check out some more interviews at etimusic.com. Thanks again, man.
No worries.
Cheers, buddy. Alright. That's so good. Dude, thanks, man.
Oh, no worries, man.
Awesome to have you here.
No worries at all.
Privilege for me, mate.